development, planning for the country better, the people and places. So often, every 10 years, the country say, the law then at this country, will go from a lawyer shortly about census. But from what we don't learn over the years, that we can do census. The last time we began National Population and Housing Census was in 2015. So, there was 2021 midterm census with the APC be boycott. The 2015 year have been under the administration, they've been conducted. 2021 and say not been needful, so them boycott them vehemently, then rally around the members, supporters, and sympathizers across the country for boycott that process. And now, 10 years fast forward, 2015 to now, we're supposed to get a census this December. President Julius Maada Bio late last year been declared census night for December 2nd. And a 2 weeks process is supposed to be. But just a couple of weeks ago, the National Statistics Office, Stats SL, they announced a postponement of the 2015 census by 1 year additional for enable them for prepare better. So then put out this timeline. So now, the new timeline supposed to run on to 2027. 2016, now then say, then go do main enumeration, and data processing. That data processing, they go run on to 2027. Data analysis, reporting, and dissemination will take place in 2027. The elections, more or less, now in 2028. Other people now, they say, if they are doing this in 2027, then waiting the ECSL go left with for do boundary delimitation, because they would have to rely on the data from the census, as in the last one, for do boundary delimitation. On the 20th of May, which was about 8 days ago, a press release where they outlined some of the reasons why they need some extra time for go with this census process, but at least 1 year more, or plus minus, or at least or at most 1 year for do the census, as already seen in the time. They say, as part of our ongoing commitments to transparency and public engagement, Statistics Sierra Leone is pleased to share the latest development regarding the planning and implementation of the 2026 Decennial Population and Housing Census. To the Decennial Population and Housing. One can say the visit by the UN mission and the subsequent postponement of the census. They outlined. The assessment mission had two main objectives: to assess the current status and level of preparedness for the 2025 Population and Housing Census, including identifying major challenges and the rest. So they also continue to outline waiting as part of that press release that we put out. One of such now setting up census administrative and organizational machinery, then say completion of the census project document, and then continue say census timelines, critical census timelines for the implementation of the 2026 Population and Housing Census have been agreed upon by UNFPA and Statistics Sierra Leone Stats SL following consultations with the Chief Technical Advisor and Cartographic Consultant. For example, the pilot census is scheduled for December 2025. Exactly 1 year ago, before the main enumeration planned for December 2026. Then continue for say, then they do master trainers training, census financing and procurement, recruitment for cartographic mapping and secretariat staff, recruitment of international consultants, and the likes. So, now the closing here, they say the 2026 Population and Housing Census is designed to be in an inclusive, open, and participatory process, conducted in close collaboration with all stakeholders. Underline that, all stakeholders. The census is a vital tool that informs resource allocation, policy development and planning for essential services such as schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and more. It is not a political exercise. Well, this is as believed by many people that the census over the years have been more of a political decision rather than for development purpose. So this is why they say they need the census for delay by at least or at most 1 year more, for do all these things, for be more inclusive, and they need the participation and collaboration by all stakeholders, underline that. But the All People's Congress, APC, had earlier on put out a lengthy media statement. They outline a number of things where they say did not go right, or are still not in line with waiting the standard and principles supposed to be. They say, one, ill-advised proclamation of the census by the president on September 9, 2024. And continue for say, the outcome of the UN assessment and support mission, a damning indictment of government's incompetence. That is what they said. It's a damning indictment on government competence. And they say there is funding, the funding, they say a crisis for commitment and credibility. Because they say government say they not get the kind of money government they commit and how they plan for fund the entire census. They say a crisis for commitment and credibility on the side of government, on the part of government. Then indicates the implications for the national planning, where they say it will hold hostage the competence of the entire process. And then they say in the conclusion, the APC not going to tolerate any sabotage where then disguise as incompetence. And this rather came from the National Secretary General of the APC, Lansana Doumbouya ESQ. I put this together. What is this thing called census? As we already know, the talk saying a legal provision, a constitutional provision. Let's get into what the law prescribes about census with lawyer Charlie Israel Williams as he takes time for explain to we in this special episode of Know the Law about what the census should be, or waiting the law say about census.
For just give a little background with regards to censuses in Sierra Leone, now that we get legal provision, law, where they say we for do census every 10 years. And also we also get law where they say we for do mid-term census. The reason for census every 10 years, them boku, but just few of them, now that as a country population they grow, and we get what we call demographic, dynamics. As the population they grow, now so many other things they happen. The population gets dynamics, so we can call demographic dynamics, like almost picking them, almost woman them, almost man them, almost people able access water, almost people they access electricity, almost people they live in the urban areas, almost they live in the rural areas, and almost people get job, whose kind job they get, almost people not get job. Almost people don't graduate from university. Almost people not go school at all. All of the information, then the census, they capture them every 10 years. But development experts, think you always say, if you wait, say, 10 years for let you get that information there, a lot of things going to happen. And the reason we make you need all of this demographic information, and for able to plan well and able to address the needs and the aspirations of the people. So now the importance than day of census. So now that we get them as law, say every 10 years we for do census. From history, you find out, say, census dates, they not can always be the dates them way the actual census can occur. The reasons are there always. One na that the money for do census in Boku. And country like Salon, we economy, it's always problematic. Right now, if you look at Sierra Leone economy, it's one of the worst in the world. So you imagine how they pull money for do certain things. So therefore depend on people, them organizations that we can call donor partners and all of that. And so then one reason also we can affect with census them in terms of timings and dates. Another issue we can make with census then get problem, and sometimes then get issues of dates and when they do them. Now politics. The politicians them, they use census to their advantage. We get this issue of Usaiboku people, they stronghold, all them kind of thing, then they almost people don't reach the age for vote. So it can always be a challenge, because instead of a process way for better way for allow and support with development as a country, politicians then get a tendency for manipulate them, use them to their own advantage. So you can find out, say, census can also inform elections, it can inform election planning, it can inform what they call constituencies and delimitations. However, in as much as we not get money and politicians can manipulate process and all of that, we also know as a nation, say, we get law them. Like with current electoral laws, then they suggest, say, anything where we for do, we get for impact on election, we for don't do them time ahead of elections. So where we they postpone census them and waiting, we also for look at the impact in the future. If we forget election as we understand them for be in 2028, then this is 2025, and we they postpone census. Who's tell we go actually start that census? Who's tell we go done them for meet up this election way for happen in 2028 according to waiting we understand and waiting we reform, maybe ECSL. And we concern, especially we with the civic space and the civil society activism and all of that. We concern because, as I say, just now politicians and can use them process away for benefit we as country, way for help with development, then can manipulate them for their own benefit and advantage. We don't want any situation where the census go be so delayed that by the time we then do them, then go get calls for say, oh well, because of the census, so need for push election date also and all of that. We don't want them kind of thing. And so me just want for sound a caution and also give me own advice to government, to statistics alone, to politicians, political.
Okay, so now let's get into the conversation with Samuel Ansumana, who is the Director of Communications and Statistics Sierra Leone, and Abdul Karim Kamara, Esquire, when a member of the APC publicity team, and a member of the APC team where we're not part of the delegation at the Statistics Council.
Census Committee.
Census Committee. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Samuel, good afternoon. Abdul Karim.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure being here. Good afternoon to our viewers.
Okay. So, Samuel, in the first place, this una 1 year additional time we wanna say una need. It's more or less as already outlined in down a press release dated 20th May, correct?
Yeah.
For the training, for additional things. Here I wanna say the UN assessment team, the mission, can do a number of assessments we inform down a decision day.
Yeah.
So una not be done do this assessment among una self. Firstly, before ever una advise President Bio for make an announcement last year of the census being this year in December.
Okay, so whether we've been do an analysis within for know exactly as to the fact say we go able for conduct the census in 2025 or 2026. Legitimately, the president supposed for proclaim the conduct of a census. So that day, on we own side, we inform the president and make a known to and say, it is time, based on the decennial census calendar, for make them go ahead
census
and proclaim a census. So proclamation of censuses is the obligation of the president. Now, after I don't proclaim the census, within the decennial census time frame, now the change of dates along the line, the institution can handle it. All right. So if you get change of dates, the institution will come and announce to people and say, okay, well, they change the date for XYZ reason. All right. So not to be a situation where you say, okay, we're not being, or we know if we not prepare or whatsoever. No, not to that end of the case. The fact is, the president first and foremost began to announce the conduct of the census. All right.
And that should be the first step.
Yes, first step. That's the first step.
But the first step should be guided, well advised. Is that not so?
Well advised, yes. Well advised, yes. But it don't mean say that advice they're not subject to edits here and there.
Okay.
All right.
So some adjustments.
Yes, adjustments here and there. So advice, yes, we advise them. But then one thing we're critical for knowing that where we eventually president proclaimed the conduct of the census. Before president they proclaim the conduct of the census, right? Anything you do illegitimate, right? No substance, so legal.
Any preparation could be illegitimate.
Even preparations. The only thing we'll do prior to that day, now before ensure say we prepare the documents then we then take to president. At the end of the day, we able for make them craft the statutory instrument. All right, we then go in a parliament and give them 21 days in mature, get no objection. Then president eventually announce the conduct of the census. Okay, so anything you do prior than the illegitimate.
What about training? Because when I capture that in this press release dated 20th May.
Okay, so and now this I don't hear you display. A lot of people don't see this before. So they do training for cartography or for the census before president they announce the conduct of the census. That's not correct.
But there's already a timeline already prescribed by the Constitution, say every 10 years.
Yeah.
So every 10 years we not say we for do census.
Yeah.
So by the time when the 10 years they reach, not just the proclamation amount I would wait for. For the do training now, logically and tactically.
What's kind of training? No, you not go ahead and do training for the census where the president now proclaim the conduct of the census here. Now like you beat the gun. All right, they go ahead and do that. Besides, for conduct training, not to just we they do it internally. They do it in partnership with partners, UNFPA, UNECA, US Census Bureau. They come together. Consultants they come in town, all right, where we can work together because again the census, you go see them call international compatibility for meet international standards. So now I'm again partner they can for ensure see the processes and procedures they take. Actually, they're in line with international best practices. Now, maybe actually they can at all. Okay, now that's the idea. Okay, so talking of the fact, say, if we run they do training or whatsoever, then they not hold no sway. Naya. All right. The bottom line are that president proclaimed the census. International partners then come the January after I don't proclaim the census. then do an assessment for a week, and we clearly state in our press release how we come about for me to get the change of date. Okay? Then make the recommendations to we at first. Now that meeting day, the press been there, they wonder why Slick TV not been there, but it been gets have been open. How they call them session will be get. Then present US Census Bureau people and UNFP. Then present them findings. We then get at the end of the day.
As part of within the assessment, and say they identify gaps in preparedness to guide the planning of targeted interventions and mitigation measures with a focus on specific areas where Statistics Sierra Leone, Stats SL, could benefit from additional technical assistance.
Yeah, so now be one of the objectives then of the mission. All right?
And they identified it.
Yes, now one of the objectives then Dandy. So at the end of the day, then say, okay, we don't do the assessment and say, una very good pan, we camp leadership, but we feel like say, una can cope better with additional technical assistance from we. Okay? And that's one. Second point, we also, and it be part of the recommendation, they don't plan themselves for the year. All right, 2025 already. So, if we want for make them part of the census process, then we get for ensure say we shift so that they will fit themselves into the plans when we get. Okay? So, government being taken with a pinch of salt. This is a public session we'll be get. And you been get at that time the Secretary to President, I mean Dede. So we then tell them publicly, and media did it, this is in the full view of the media. Publicly, now in the Secretary to President say, he say, not to think this way, they expect as a government. He said, because 2026, I think they want to do some constitutional review, something or whatsoever. He mentioned that, and clearly he mentioned that. He said, but he could take them back to the president. But visibly, you're not been too appreciate the recommendation. And take them back to president. After that, then come back to we. Say, okay, president, don't go ahead, say we can shift the date. All right? So now on that basis, we shift the date to get back to the partners for say, based on the recommendations we want to make, the government will approve or will shift the date to December 2026 as we recommend. So that's how the change of date happened.
And AKK, una na the APC, in fact, una release una own position 4 days earlier before Statistics Sierra Leone come up with this. About 9 pages where the Secretary General of the party, Lansan Adumbe, signed. Una catalog, una outline a number of things. One, una say here that the ill-advised proclamation of the census by the president on September 9, 2024. And then una continue for say here, the outcome of the UN assessment and support mission, you get issue with an implication on the government. And then the funding aspect, una say na a crisis for commitment and credibility. Una go before for say that it get implication on national planning and it will hold the competence of the process hostage, among several other things. So meaning una be envision already these things before the very assessment mission came out or whatever it is, where Statistics Sierra Leone put out then their own release on the 20th.
No, get something clear.
Okay.
So the release where APC put out
on the 16th.
All right. Now, after
the engagement with the assessment mission.
After we don't postpone the census and after the engagement with the assessment mission. This engagement with the assessment mission happened inside January, precisely January 13th to the 17th, right? Inside March, now we actually call an advisory committee meeting where we been get Peter Bangura represented, all right? He represent APC. Now they will make a known to them, say, will they change the census, say, because of X, Y, Z. We'll give them the reasons clearly. And Peter Bangura tell we, they say, indeed, census dates, and we get this on record, census dates change not a new thing. In fact, now the one old from where we begin conduct census in Sierra Leone, we don't ever get a situation where they proclaim census exactly. We get the census in
Peter Bangura or Peter Conte?
Peter Bangura.
Okay, representing the APC.
APC, yes.
In that committee.
All right, yes, that's it.
And this, of course, not supposed to come as a cry from the APC, because one of Una way they represents the party is part of, was, well, acknowledged the reason for the changes.
One thing we get ourselves so preoccupied with, so that we're not going to shift the goalposts along the line, because the first question we want to pose and this one don't look a bit different. So, however, let me take this one we last pose.
Yes.
Firstly, I want to say plenty thank you to my brother, Mr. Ansumana. He talk from really like when you say professional point of view, somebody like we not sabi much about politics, or even if he's sabi, you know, I'm be politician. Waiting we APC do, it just sound like when they say this person na me in today. Asabi in black hand, Asabi in white hand. Asabi, anyhow you work, even inside darkness, set with him up. Asabi. That is what we the APC they prove now to the country.
With statistics?
No, not with statistics, really.
Okay.
With the current dispensation, the SLPP government, led by President Madabio. We sabi every nook and cranny of the SLPP. We sabi even if they shake no more, we sabi what they want to do.
Is it because,
so that is
it because of what people don't say before, say, Una don't do worse, so they on their way cannot turn and give it?
No, we don't do the best in this country. And you see now. However, to answer this question, like we then say, Peter began at the meeting, indeed, and you don't confirm, same again at our press conference, that indeed census dates they can change, and in no unfamiliar to Sierra Leone. But however, for make census dates then change, there must be very cogent reasons, i.e., there should be issues like war, pandemics, and some serious national issues, i.e., a reference in 2004, we don't get we census then, but we push them because of the rebel war. We will not be able. It further continues, say, in 2014, we don't get we census, but we're not able to do them because of the Ebola pandemic. And so, for make statistics now considering the postponed census in 2025, for which the country not get war, we not get COVID, we not get Ebola, we not get any serious pandemic, but only on very flimsy grounds.
Well, now we're getting box.
It's, except if tomorrow, you make Allah. Except if tomorrow people will come back say, based on the prevailing circumstances and the escalating figures, so statistics now they differ because of mpox.
No, but they don't change the statements again. They already don't outline the reasons.
So except you won't give them again next.
No, they don't give the reasons. They will not change it again.
Well, they can anything. The guys are looking for opportunity. We can continue for push. So except if you help them back in this way. So you see. So basically, let me go back to the argument. So Peter's argument was very clear and genuine. He said, yes, we can change census. And we will change them on very serious grounds. But for make them no able hold census because the UN assessment team don't come say, we don't realize
there are gaps.
There are gaps, capacity, staff capacity poor because statistics Sierra Leone, then relieve people them unfair dismissal, over 200 of them, where they don't get over 10 or 15 years, decade of institutional training, where they don't sabi this work to the best of their ability, but because of one reason or the other, they fire them massively. So that gap still there in statistics, that's now one. Number two, funding.
The assessment team could not say that.
But they said they
could not have said that.
No, they said there is staff challenge. Capacity.
They're not
capacity. Staff capacity.
They're not saying capacity.
And thus, if I make them even hire a technical expert when they pay. UNDP they pay and the resident is it the resident?
Yes, resident.
I am coming.
No, so you've done the bill over the years.
God.
No, clarify some points. Sorry, Abdul Karim. Not so you done the happen over the years. Say then they hire UNDP, they hire consultants where they help the process. Even elections business, I remember UNDP used to hire consultants with their ECSL. Has that not been the trend?
Assume Senator Tide Abdul Karim.
It has been.
The judge can interject you.
Yeah.
All right.
You see the work they do right now. Firstly, I always say this, even when we open the press conference at Brookfield Hotel, our first point is a nationalistic call. This is not partisan politics. No. This is for a call. This is a fight we are fighting for Sierra Leone. And to us, we are saying all the early signs of plaguing this country back to that senseless situation we were before are all glaring. I.e., when you take a classical look at the TRC report, fundamentally and principally, among so many things that we make we fight, the senseless one of this country is institutional failure. And this is a semblance we are beginning to see again under this dispensation. Serious institutional failure, serious institutional collapse, because these institutions that are supposed to be independent, neutral, apolitical, now politics is thriving into them. It's trying to hold them hostage. That is why when I begin, I said the way Figo they talk, you they really notice he's not a politician.
And like this institution will come on not to political institution.
Not to be a political institution. But however, at the trend of occurrences now, we are beginning to understand that these institutions that are supposed to be independent are now politically instrumentalized.
So you mean that no affects now waiting for
that is why now, if you see now, this is where I was building my premises. This is why now I say SLPP who they play with not to statistics at the top, but to SLPP government. We don't play inside this room here for over decades.
No, now they discuss statistics.
So we sabi them.
No, now they discuss statistics.
I for draw the nexus now.
No,
government and statistics.
Let me not go out of the conversation. We discuss statistics and the census and not the SLPP.
But you heard me say that these institutions that are supposed to be independent, politics is now trying to hold them hostage. As to the fact that they are stifling them as to not operating within their free will. This is not the premise that they strive for bill.
Okay.
That this institution, statistics surely, was supposed to be very neutral institution, where they give with credible and reliable data, where they inform governments and other donor partners as to resource allocation and national planning. Now, government won't just strive for just muzzle them and concentrate all the effort into a singular focus. That is for political gains.
So, on a point now that there was no reason start SL, whether from the advice of the assessment mission or whatsoever, or from whoever, for don't defer or postpone the census.
I don't answer this question almost every now and then.
Just for the sake of emphasis.
Must state emphasis here. Firstly, we're not there against statistics for defer census. Now, you make Peter make them clear. But at this point now, whether they defer so this census,
reason or they
not get no tangible reasons. The country not depend war. We not get epidemic. We not get pandemic. We not get nothing. The only thing they rely on, 2 things or 3 things fundamentally, is A, staff capacity, 2, funding challenges, and 3, technical know-how. This does show say indeed, 1, the institution itself is not competent for the task. However, the APC gets a different way we look at her. We know for a figure we sit on Naya, my brother Naya. By no estimation of me as a reasonable person go look Figo tell and say he's not competent for his task. No.
Okay.
He's overcompetent, but however, we're not beginning to see these personnel at Statistics Trillion, that they don't mortgage them, they don't anchor them to the way that then professionalism don't become mortgage to political sensitivity, to partisan politics.
Hence,
affect them so. This is where we are now as a country.
Let's ask.
So you have Figo discuss so many things.
Okay.
You understand? So therefore, we as a party, firstly we say, in as much as we're ready for the counted, we want a credible system, a system where far from political instrumentalization, a system wherein the people where they perform these duties all unto themselves say that they perform a civic and a national duty. We're completely be disconnected from politics. However, all waiting we talk now don't come to the bear. I.e., we say statistics Sierra Leone, not to say they're competent or not competent to, but because them be the type of pay back to them pay masters, meaning politics don't engulf them, politics don't strangulate them. Now, there seems to be that kind of institution, and then they dance to political gimmicks. How? Because SLPP knows, say, if only statistics push this census, this all-important census, this is where Figo no go ever accept it, because Figo will tell you, say, no, our duty is sacred, it is non-political.
You don't ever people, anybody don't ever approach on an APC say, when they complain, when they cry because when I also be done good at waiting when they accuse SLPP of doing this.
We've never done that. We've never done that. See the unfortunate statement from the Minister of Local Government. Right now, Moyamba. Just imagine, it's so unfortunate. I am on record. That was so unfortunate from the Minister of Labour, Tambalanin, saying that they are going to have new districts and new cities. Panguma as a district and Banajuma. And other cities, Lunge and blah, blah, blah. For me as a person, the first thing you did measure up to, how did you reach at this conclusion?
So when I smell the rat say, this is the essence.
Maybe start here first for recruit enumerators. Wait for a second. Let us see logical syllogism here.
Okay.
Figo not really recruit enumerators the hits. Figo not even do is the hits as per cartographic mapping. Figo not do nothing yet at the elementary stage, for which you don't even get any contemplation of a data with the planner in mind. Now the Minister
of Local Government
does say with the pull 2 districts and other cities they emerge. What will be the conclusion of a reasonable person if statistical any data we go end up providing the same result?
Exactly the question I'll be ask you. Say if anybody don't ever approach and say,
to be honest,
say now waiting una be don't do before, because the APC under the last census was conducted, 2 districts were created, Karine and Falaba.
Correct. But that was after 20. Listen, this is where now you see one thing where man say you don't put the cart, C-A-R-T, before the horse. The cat should always be after the horse. Now what the APC do? We allow the institution for work. They work satisfactorily. They provide a credible and reliable data where both local and international partners rely on. Thus, it brings the emergence of Karine and Falaba. That tells you that came after data don't inform that decision.
After the census.
Correct. But this
after
is
after 2015 census.
After 2015 census. That is why when we go 2018 census, so 2018 general elections, when we get Falaba.
So exactly the point where they say, so exactly the point where they say Tonangi.
But this that they know they do within, hey God, let us stop. That is why I started again. Let me take you back before you go back to Figo. When you take your time carefully, please, I know you're a very good person who likes to research. Take your time and read the TRC report. Fundamentally and principally, among so many things, we wrecked this country to where we did so today. Now, because of institutional collapse.
And Tonangi na part of them. This Tonangi way
some of the institutions that fail we, i.e. the judiciary,
yes,
other institutions, the police, and other.
And it is both the SLPP and APC for who responsible. Now, the other who salon since 1961. And this issue of Tonangi at the camp.
Always going to say, wait till it happened 1950. No, let us talk contemporary Sierra Leone.
So the Minister of Local Government you reference, where you say make a declaration of Moyamba out of a civic engagement, did this declaration say then go get 2 districts and 1 or 2 cities? Yes.
Just imagine.
So you go back to the point where they ask about Tonangi. APC created 2 districts after this last census, and now we are planning to get a new census. And now we don't begin get an hint.
But Patrick, why are you putting the cat before the horse?
Is it?
So you're already prejudicing the
also the Minister of Local Government to do their work. The Minister of Local Government don't make them already clear.
So that is now the question I'm saying is that tell me as a reasonable Sierra Leonean, if census, okay, let us say all things being equal, census the statistics go do the work. The end of us say the data don't inform we say we for pull districts na Bandajuma and Panguma and we for make Lunge City and we for shape Western Rural. Who were for shape Western area, all these things. Tell me, before it happen, somebody don't talk and baba all day.
Okay, just for clarity,
okay,
right?
Yes.
That just make this clear. I've been there na Moyamba, we popularize the census, so I've been there the AKK. The minister no, it make it clear say because somebody ask him and the crowd say why wanna not go wait after census, they wanna do whatever in district thing they want to do, right? It say not to census, not to the 2026 census data that they use. all right? Now data from previous censuses that they use for doing redistricting. So just clarity I make, yeah?
Okay.
So not to 2026, really, then they preempt. All right, this is a thing where based on a day the way you make the statements, based on what they say, the one for do well, cities and don't large, numbers and don't they here and there, the one for
Okay,
let me address this quickly.
No,
Please.
So let me make one thing clear. I don't talk to the politics of Angola.
Yes, exactly. The reason we make our law, yes.
Address
Yes.
quickly.
I assure you, AKK, that this is a separate conversation we'll get for embark on. We'll call the minister or somebody from Ministry of Local Government for can clarify this point, because probably you hardly go do figure you hear from a professional institution, not a political institution. So now we'll lay this conversation to rest and focus on the census.
Okay, so
because hardly you go do redistricting without increasing population somewhere and all that. So we'll go forget this conversation some other time.
You just want to the entire statistics they want.
In terms of postponement, so we'll come back to the conversation. Is it not possible say they're not being Taiwana? The assessment mission not Taiwana say, but all now that would say already the Taiwana for them at all costs, correct?
Yep.
So una get the opportunity still go ahead with the census as planned by December this year.
Okay.
And then una continue the other things later.
Okay. So what happen? We don't learn from experiences. All right.
Because Salona is sovereign. Salona is sovereign nation.
I understand that.
And statistics are alone.
Salona is sovereign state. A sovereign country. But because of the situation, you know, the kind of economic and also geopolitical condition we find ourselves as a country, we always stringed to international people, international partners, right? Not until date, not then they provide the highest amounts of finances. So we, government in, government out. That is what happens.
Because, for example, we need $37 million
so what
for conduct census, and government they commit only about $6.4 million.
6.5 for this year.
6.5. That's less than how many percent of?
Okay, so let's clarify. Let's make one thing clear. As we speak, government don't give it $2.5 million now.
Out of the 37 million we need.
The landing now 54.
Out of
54.
Yes, the new policy they say 54.
Out of $54 million.
Not also
No.
How much we need?
37.5 million.
37.5 million.
37.5 million. 37.5 million. So, as I say, the point where they make now, yes, we've been getting liberty for saying no, we're not good one, but we don't learn from 2021. Okay, though the census come out successfully, but too many issues been there because we disagree a lot with international partners. We don't learn from that. We don't want for make we go to that kind of thing there again. All right. So that is one thing we'll consider. But importantly,
no, but we not get time again for still go ahead with the census.
Yeah, of course we get for this
and use whatever it is as learning lesson for the future.
So make us say something. If
this is just me.
The government will get the leverage because we present this to the president, all right, the government, before we change, say now this then see, all right, and we get the leverage for come back to we say, no, we're not allow them, we're not go ahead and do them as planned. But the government come back to we say, we're not accept us in and say, how we go change her? You understand, eh? How we go change? Obviously, we get that leverage for change her. How we go change her?
We don't get money on for doing.
No, of course, government not make I even say this. Now, government don't support the majority of, for majority of the funds we get right now. Now, government they support. We, as I said, they don't give you 2.5 million. Then commit 6.5 million for this year. Make one thing also clear, make we understand. We don't need all $37.5 million seated in our accounts. What we do now activity-based requests we do. So, for example, one do cartography, one do pilot, one do main and immigration, one buy tablet, they will request, they send the money. So, government get plenty competing interests, I'm pretty sure we all know. They're not going to send all that money there for we at one go.
The 4 points.
The 37 million. Then commit 6.5 million. They don't give you 2.5 million from that 6.5 million.
So they left 4 million on the side.
4 million on the side for this year. That's now for 2025. All right? 2025 then commit.
So the bulk of the money for do the census, they come from donors?
No, well, government really don't commit 2.5 million. as I say.
Out of $37.5 million,
Yes,
government commits 6.5.
Yes, government commit 6.5 for this year.
No, out of the total we will need, government has 6.5. Then they begin.
We government budget for the year.
Okay.
Then commit, and a better way they make them, way they ask me, so I go clarify, because I don't hear people and they talk this. We government read the budget for the year, then commit $6.5 million for census for 2025. All right. Now census now 2026. Then get for commit more back, I'm sure, for the next year.
This is confusing. Let us clarify this. The total amount needed for the census now $37.5 million.
Correct.
How much government they provide in total? Now, government they fund the entire census entirely.
Except you want for say government for commit waiting and they provide for the waiting and they go next year where they not get budget for next year.
And when they put them into category of years.
The
census was originally scheduled for December this year, 2025.
Yeah.
We were not considering 2026, 2027.
Okay.
We'll talk about holistically the entire process. How much government commits?
6.5 million for 2025.
No, let's pull the year. Come on. We'll talk about the entire process. Out of the $37.5 million.
No, so if I can't say government commits, you know, I don't want we limit the conversation to just government commitment of finances. Okay. If I can't say government commit just $6.5 million, then I need to do the injustice because
you need to make this clarification. There is this adage, of course, you know, he who pays the piper calls the tune.
Yeah.
Hence the reason una heed to the advice of the assessment mission from UN, saying that they commit the bulk of the resources. So if una not go by waiting the advice, they cannot provide the funding.
Not really the bulk of the resources. Yeah, as I said, we don't learn from 2021 census. One issue we've been getting that we've been get too many disagreements with international partners, and we don't want for later and they happen again. So it's not about who pays the piper calling the tune. That is not the situation. But me brother, you know, AKK that guy was like, you know, me man, me ain't talking, me, you know, AKK. Me not a politician, but AKK has to begin talk the same way. All in talk and riddled with politics, you know. So the undertone now politics, all right. But let talk some statistics and technical. You know, make her talk some technical. AKK, you say censuses all the time they don't get change of dates in censuses na Sierra Leone. Now we'll get maybe pandemic or we get war or whatsoever. That is not correct. 1973, when we changed the census date to 1974, we never had any problem in Sierra Leone. Likewise, 1984, where the census was supposed to happen, it not happened in 1984, it happened in 1985.
Sierra Leone was having a transition
right?
between Alpha Conde, is it Lansana Conde and Sierra Leone? We trained is it Guinea and Liberia? This issue of
There
was a serious
no, there was no serious
no,
issue.
Continue.
All
I'll rectify
okay.
them.
All right, okay. So post-war, because the war happened from 1991 to 2002. All right. During the war, of course, we not been get any census, you know, so we get a 19-year break. Then we now get the census in 2004. All right. So the point where they make, where they try to arrive at, now the fact say, the change of census dates, not a new thing. I'm pretty sure AKK and the rest of other people will prefer we do a very good census within timelines, right? And we get a census where internationally comparable, than we rush up and do a botched census
and now get it wrong.
And we get wrong results. Results we at the end of the day questions come here and there and all of that.
Have the results?
I'm pretty sure.
Have the results
ever
been correct?
For the former.
Have the results ever been correct and not challenged by the public?
Okay, so
because I remember in 2015, the one way APC then do was challenged.
Okay, so the
one
thing
in
is,
the 2021 census, in fact, faced more challenges. Question.
So censuses over the years have been politicized, all right, by political parties, and at the unfortunate situation and the offend we self in actual fact, censuses are not conducted for elections. No, make it very, very clear. They are not conducted for elections at all.
That's from the statistics side.
Not statistics perspective.
That's what
No, not statistics perspective. Census, they know they ever conduct them for elections anywhere in the world. Hold on, not the fact. Allow me. Not the fact. Okay? However, they can use census results for things like boundary delimitation or electionary processes and everything. But nobody know they can conduct censuses because election they can conduct census. Not so like voter registration.
Okay, let me
say hold on.
Okay.
Not so like voter registration. Say if they no register, people are not go vote.
Okay, let me ask this question
like
to Raul too. The essence of census, the results from the census, the aim, and for use them for plan for the country and in people.
Of course, yeah.
Other than just boundary delimitation, redistricting, or whatever it is, where they don't use the census results for do over the years. Which other developments we don't use the census results for improve the livelihoods and communities of Sierra Leoneans?
All right, good.
Ever before.
Good.
Because since we don't begin to do census, meant supposed to be for development purposes, Sierra Leoneans rather don't see the results being used for political reasons.
Okay.
Those in these cases, for example, the redistricting, boundaries delimitation. In fact, the last election results, the district block system what they use currently was used because there was no timely census results with statistics Sierra Leone provided for ECSL. We make the name for do boundary delimitation for going to constituency system. Rather, we use the district box system.
Okay, so the one that we get for do politics, I certainly not go comment on them, but I'll talk on the developmental. All right, the developmental side.
Yes.
You say we really don't use the census for
in terms of development.
Yes, in terms of development. You see the road the way they construct. You know how they go about for construct road there. Yeah, they look at the census data because the census data they capture. Usai road then there, tarmac roads. Usai road then there in a dirty road. Usai hospital then there. Usai hospital then not there. Usai borehole then there. Usai borehole then not there. Usai for example, population don't increase and they need a health center, health facility not there. No way, no day way anybody they plan without look. So if they don't build hospitals,
na census results.
Facts.
Then they take
Facts.
rather than politicians using their own, taking their political decisions.
Facts.
For benefits their own.
Facts na census results then they use. Facts. This is fact. You can check them out. You can fact check them. Now census result that they use for check because now the single most data where they capture every aspect at a point in time. Not to just you want to go do separate study on this and this. One single-handed data they give you various indicators.
Okay, that draw your attention quickly in terms of wood. Yeah. How come Kabbalah, the district headquarters at Tong for Koinadugu district, being get before 5 years ago, more tarmac roads, more tar roads than Kenema City, when at the regional headquarters for the eastern region?
Well, that is political. I'm not going to comment on that.
That is the point I'm making.
No, you are... No, listen.
That is the point I'm making because Kenema City more populated than Kabbalah. And in fact, Kenema City is more strategic in terms of business, economic activities, and other things than Kabbalah.
I'm pretty sure.
For example,
this I'm sure of. In order to check the population of people within a place before then determine, say, because you are populated for make road day. It determine the number of places we not get good roads.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Is that so?
That is what the census result does. I'm talking about what the result does.
So who said they develop places for? Is it not for the people?
Would they check? For example, if you don't get places and we get hospitals, all right? You would have to check if there are hospitals already there. Okay? Or they're not there.
Okay.
Then you can come with then look at the result, then look at the data and say, okay, I think here needs some hospital.
Okay.
All right, they could put on it. But I just something they were one for talk on. I think it escaped me. AKK say we get capacity challenge. I just want just for like this. I do this for
institutional memory.
Posterity. For posterity. All right. As we talk, okay. The least assistant statistician, statistical assistant, the least person when a statistical assistant and statistics alien at least get a degree. At least he gets a degree. From statisticians upwards, nobody will not get a master's degree.
Is that sufficient for staff capacity?
I come. There is a reason why they say that.
Yes.
So even when you get, hold on. Yes. Even when you get like that kind of situation, you don't talk So even when you don't get people and don't study and all of that, statistics not like any other area. You need regular updates because you get improvement in Stata, you get improvement in SPSS, you get improvement in Python. You need for raise your standards.
For one person
regularly.
One person will be magician for the work of 5 people. When I lay off over 200 people, meaning when I get a shortfall of not about the degree or non-degree.
Okay. All right.
It's about the numbers.
Okay.
It is about the numbers.
Okay. So like
the intellectual ability.
All right. So like clarify for her. We lay off 200 people.
Yes.
In 20. At first, it was 200. Of that 200, we end up for take 58 back. Okay, 58. We are taken back. Now, the majority of the people in within layoff were people where they get surveyed and so, then just bring them come, then become part of the survey. After survey done, they not go again and turn their staff. Now, the processes and procedures for recruiting them were flawed. Now, that have been the bottom line. All right, they not go through due processes for recruiting them. Some day you ask yourself, give me your appointment letter. One thing why I know say people in the keep now the appointment letter. You ask and give me appointment letter, they're not getting.
Okay.
Because the processes were flawed. However, the other thing was we found out at that time that the office be overbloated. You had over 500 people that were working there. Majority literally doing permanent staff paid from government coffers.
Okay.
Majority of them were literally doing nothing.
Okay.
All right. So if you get 200 people, I'm coming.
Instead of giving them contracts on census basis.
Yes, you get 200 people.
All right.
Then you get a situation where they're not doing it. You can get 5 efficient people than get 15 people who are not efficient. All right.
My resentments will be, this is why sometimes the studio becomes argumentative because everybody will fighting for time. Today I'm really being challenged that I cannot say many of the things.
Okay, make us say something.
Let us respond.
However, a few things I want to bring to the table are that we, the APC, we're ready for participate into this census, and we make sure we monitor them step by step,
regardless of the postponement.
And we make sure it gets the required validity. Anything lesser than that, then they meet the fiercest resistance. However, we tell them in as much as they deny for listening to the international community first, now they're saying they listen to them because it's still yielding to the same goal, but we're still telling them, hey, it's not business as usual.
Stop for use belligerent language. Make a break something to you. You are being belligerent. It's not use warfare language. Okay, we are talking about census. So make I just tell us something. We had a meeting this morning. With the APC, the NSG, the National Secretary General. We had a meeting with him and the team this morning. All right, on a personal note.
On this Wednesday morning.
Of course, today. Right? Today. We don't talk to them. They don't understand the situations. We are not fighting. You guys are going to come on board. Una come up again.
They don't pledge their commitments already.
Of course.
Yes. But
we should be. It's not about being belligerent.
that let us not do things on the contrary.
You know,
let us not do things on the contrary.
It's a civic and a national project.
Of course, that is
be part of it fully.
Good. We are happy for that.
But
we're glad for that day.
But however, anything short from that one, it's not going to be business as usual.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It will lead to use of belligerent language.
Thank you very much, Abdulkarim Kamara, Esquire, and a member of the APC publicity team, and a member of the APC team within the census committee. Thank you very much also, Samuel Figoman and Sumana, Director of Communications for Statistics Sierra Leone. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's nice having the two of you. And
it's always nice being here with my brother, because I know we are going to go into, he'll be pulling the political gimmicks.
We cannot end this conversation without getting the inputs of Sierra Leoneans on this. So, as a result, let us hear from, thank you very much, gentlemen.